How can the concept of monotropism explain and potentially diagnose autism? I'm going to tell you, and you can take the test with me. So let's go. Welcome, my friend. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. I'm all about helping you raise your level of understanding, acceptance, and appreciation of the autistic community. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, just come and join this amazing community just by hitting that subscribe button. Orion Kelly, that autistic guy, and Orion Kelly podcasts. You're in, my friend. You're in like Flynn. That's a very timely and topical reference. Autism explained differently, and a new quiz that you and I can take together. So let's start at the start. What is monotropism? Monotropism is a concept developed by a group of people, including Dr. Dina Murray, Michael Esser, and Wen Lawson, Australia's own. In a nutshell, monotropism refers to a cognitive style where individuals tend to focus their attention on a single topic, or even a train of thought at the time, to the exclusion of other stimuli or information in their environment. In essence, it's like having a monotopic or singular focus. As autistic people, you may already resonate with this. Are you one of those people that tends to focus all their time and attention on a single topic, a single train of thought, and this is the big part, to the exclusion of all other topics, thoughts, information, stimuli around you? See, autism potentially explained differently. So before we get onto the Monotropism Questionnaire, I want to just quickly give you a bird's eye view, just some important, pertinent bullet points from the original journal article that I've just spoken about. So the original journal article that proposed this new concept is called Attention, Monotropism, and the Diagnostic Criteria for Autism. It was published in the National Autism Society back in 2005. Information I reckon you need to know, in other words, the executive summary of the journal article. Our hypothesis is that the difference between autistic and non-autistic is a difference in the strategies employed in the distribution of scarce attention. That is to say, it is the difference between having few interests highly aroused, the monotropic tendency, and having many interests less highly aroused, the polytropic tendency. Bloody fascinating, huh? Here's another one. Attention is the resource which is competed for by task demand, and a task is an enacted interest. In order to perform a task as a task, any individual needs to see the point of the task, so understand the goal, value the point of the task, be motivated by it, see how to perform that task, so understand precisely what task it is, what steps must be taken to carry it out, and know how to take the identified steps. You tell me as an autistic person that entire description I just gave you didn't ring like a bell. How many times have you said, I don't know how to do this, no one's ever shown me how to do this, or I can't work out how to do this? Or, you want me to do something? Okay, why? Why am I doing it? Like, to be clear, the journal article also states on that information that monotropic individuals are likely to have problems with each of those steps. Like I've just said, see the point of the task, value the point of the task, know how to perform the task, know the steps. So really interesting. And the last piece, they talk about some emotions, which is just a quick little sentence I've taken out, which I think might be interesting to know from the journal. In monotropic individuals, emotions are extreme. Terror, ecstasy, rage, and desolation alternate with detachments. Judgments are also extreme. Another really interesting and different way of viewing the autistic experience. So it's been proposed that the concept of monotropism could be a different way of not only viewing autism, but potentially diagnosing it. But then, of course, that means that we have to go from the original concept journal article to, I guess, new peer-reviewed journal article research that actually proposes a quiz, a questionnaire. And I've got it for you, my friends. A quiz called the Monotropism Questionnaire has in fact been developed by a group of people among others, Fergus Murray. Now, in this journal article, so the journal article referring to the questionnaire, called Development and Validation of a Novel Self-Report Measure of Monotropism in Autistic and Non-Autistic People, the Monotropism Questionnaire. Okay, so very specifically, and I'm actually going to quote some stuff from Fergus, because there's been some confusion about this. Like, oh, this is just a test to diagnose autism. It's actually a test to diagnose monotropism, right? That's different. And therefore, it's like people are building a bridge between a test to diagnose monotropism, and that means I'm autistic. Now, of course, there's many other concepts there. Well, hang on, monotropism pretty much is a way of defining autism, so the test pretty much is a way, but anyway, we're going to take the test together, we're going to see how we go, and we'll work it out from there. But just a couple of things I want to talk about from this particular journal article, just so you get the gist of what the point of this is. Monotropism seeks to explain autism in terms of attention, distribution, and interests. Despite having strong subjective validity to autistic people and potential to explain the overlap between autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, it has been little investigated formally. This is in large part due to the lack of reliable and valid measures to capture the construct. In this study, we aimed to develop and validate a novel self-report measure, the Monotropism Questionnaire, MQ, in autistic and non-autistic people. The MQ consists of 47 items, which were generated by a group of autistic adults based on their lived experiences and academic expertise. Hallelujah! How good is that, man? No, seriously, how good is that? So, let's take the quiz. Now, Fergus, who's obviously part of it, and I'm saying Fergus Murray, has a couple of disclaimers, which I think are relatively important to talk about. And to be clear, this article and the quiz we're about to take is a pre-print. What that means is it's currently awaiting peer review. Okay, so there's some of the disclaimers, and other disclaimers from one of the creators behind this, Fergus Murray, who says, the MQ is really not an autism assessment as such. The questionnaire is designed to assess a person's degree of monotropism. And while monotropism was developed as a theory of autism, it is too early to say whether all autistic people are monotropic or whether all monotropic people are autistic. It's also not entirely clear how ADHD fits into this picture. What we know so far is that to the extent that the MQ is really measuring monotropism, autistic people and ADHDers tend to be significantly more monotropic than the average person. It is also fair to say that no other theory of autism provides a more comprehensive account of autistic differences, and that the theory of monotropism has helped a great many autistic people to make more sense of their own experiences. So it's a disclaimer, but in many ways, and you've probably been watching and listening so far, you're probably thinking, this sounds really interesting. This is actually, to me, this actually sounds like describing autism in a completely new and fresh and different way. So we've talked about it. We've given you the disclaimer. Let's take the quiz. Now, if you want to click on the link in my video, you could if you wanted. Watch me do it and do it again. Wait, do it. This is so confusing. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you're watching me right now on your TV. Get another bloody device, get my video up, click on the link, turn my video off, keep watching me on the TV and use the link to do the test. Or vice versa, get another tab. I don't know. What do you want? For the sweet love of baby Jesus, what am I doing this for? Here's the link anyway. If you can't get it, here it is. This is what it looks like. I love this, by the way. Before you begin, I am not a doctor. This is by the person that has made this questionnaire. I am not a doctor. I am a bored web developer who thinks self-diagnosing is valid. This is not diagnosing anything. Compare your scores to the results of the data from the initial validation study and continue to research. And thank you for the team involved in this study for putting together the questionnaire and all those who have made suggestions and helped make this app better. All this site is for is to make taking the questionnaire easier. And I was bored and too lazy to tally up the score myself. And yes, I know that Making this site was far more work than just doing a bit of adding. How good is that? So thank you so much to this amazing web developer for getting the questionnaire and putting it on a website where you and I can just click on the link and literally do the questionnaire, submit it, and get instant scores. How good is that? Now, the one thing I will say is, from what I can gather from doing it and looking at it, every time you go to this site, my understanding is it's the same 47 questions, but they're randomly ordered. So you're never going to have the same questions in the same order every time, if that makes sense. You know, let's just do the bloody test, mate. I find sudden, unexpected disruptions to my attention startling. Strongly agree. Do you love that autistic startle? Basically get the bejesus scared out of me at any possible time. It's just unpredictable and very normal. I often struggle to concentrate in busy and/or unpredictable environments. Oh, jeepers, strongly agree. It's such an autistic thing, by the way, right? The sensory overwhelm of too much stimuli in your environment. You're trying to concentrate on something that's important to you, and like everyone's trying to make noises, and this is flashbacks of uni, and oh man, it's not good. Next question. I sometimes accidentally say something others find offensive or rude when I'm focused on a task. Yeah, I'm going to say agree on that one. Maybe not strongly agree, but I'm definitely going to agree on that. And why, Orion? Well, when you're focused on a task as an autistic person, pretty much anyone in your world, I don't care who they are, if they are getting in the way of your task, of your passion or special interest, of completing a task, they are the enemy. I can sometimes be very distressed by a topic that others think of as trivial. And that's their problem, by the way. It's not a trivial topic. To me, it's not a trivial topic. So yes, okay, I'm getting wound up. Bloody right. Strongly agree. I often lose sense of time when engaging in activities I am passionate about. Oh man. That's a strongly agree for pretty much every autistic person on the planet, isn't it? These questions are intense, man. They're like me. This is really a bizarre experience. This is like explaining my entire autistic existence. All right, what's next? I often get stuck thinking about all the possibilities that might come out of a decision. Hang on. An autistic person overthinking and catastrophizing? No. Strongly agree. Sometimes making a decision is so hard, I get physically stuck. Yeah, absolutely. I strongly agree with that. Decisions can be so hard you feel like your body is frozen. I can get quite good at something even if I'm not especially interested in it. I mean, the clear answer is, well, no, definitely not. Autistic people tend to learn, love, have passions through things they are genuinely interested and passionate about. And in many ways, that's the key to teaching autistic people things, doing it through the lens of their passions. So the idea you get quite good at things you're not interested in, I mean, it's possible, but wouldn't be common, certainly not for me, because, well, why would I bother? I don't want to be good at things I'm not interested in. That doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, maybe I'll just say disagree. I often find it difficult to switch topics after engaging in an activity for a long time. Oh man, that's a strongly agree, that one. How hard is it? This is autistic inertia. How hard is it if you're strongly engaging in an activity for a long time and suddenly you've got to switch tasks? Like dinner or going this, doing that. It's like, no, it's literally trying to like turn, I don't know, a ocean freighter around quickly. It's not possible. So yeah, that's a strongly agree. People tell me I get fixated on things. No, they don't. Do that every minute of my life. Strongly agree. I rarely find simultaneously holding eye contact and making a verbal conversation with another person uncomfortable. Wow, man, this test is my life. Strongly disagree. Obviously, routines provide an important source of stability and safety. Routines, plans, stability, sameness. These are core things required for autistic people. So that's clearly a strong agree. When I am interested in a topic, I like to learn everything I can about that topic. Yes, strongly agree. As an autistic person, I can only speak on my own behalf. I have very few interested topics and passions, but the ones that I do, I must know absolutely everything about them. So this is a spooky quiz, man. Sometimes when I am focused on an activity, I do not recall all the information I might need to make good decisions. My brain's struggling to understand this question. You're probably getting it and I'm just a moron. I don't get this question properly. I'm going to write neither agree or disagree. I'm not going to write it. I'm going to select it, but yeah. Often when I am focused on activities, I do not notice I am thirsty or hungry. Well, often. All the time. Strongly agree. When I'm focused on my passions and special interests, whether it's this or other stuff that's really, blowing my hair back. No, absolutely. I was like, oh man, I didn't have lunch today. I haven't drunk anything. It's like dinner time. I haven't drunk any water. This is not good. So absolutely, strongly agree. When I'm working on something, I'm open to helpful suggestions. When I'm working on something, so when I'm doing something that I want to do, am I open to helpful suggestions? Let's see. No. By the way, there's no helpful suggestions. If I'm working on something that I want to do and you've got a suggestion, it's not helpful. It's bloody annoying. That's what it is. Yeah, so that's a disagree. Maybe not a strong, but that's a disagree. Involvement in an activity of interest often reduces my anxiety level. Yeah, that's strongly agree. Passions, interests, special interests, I always talk about it, mixed with alone time, is key to an autistic person's regulation. I don't mind if someone interrupts me when I'm in the middle of an activity. What? What the hell are you doing? I'm doing important stuff. Strongly disagree. Often, when I'm focused on activities, I do not notice I need the bathroom. Or as we say here in Australia, the toilet, or the dunny, or the thunderbox. Why are you going ones and twos in the bath? That's not hygienic at all. And some call them restrooms. What? Am I sleeping or am I doing stuff? It's a toilet, mate, or a dunny. What was it? What was my answer to that? Strongly agree. Often when I'm focused on activities, I don't notice. That's right, strongly agree. Sometimes I'll be busting and I forget I'm busting, and then the next thing you know, if I don't get there in half a second, I'm done. Not good. Same with autistic kids. They're the worst, by the way. You've got to remind them, mate, you need to go to the toilet, buddy. Because it gets to the point where they've realized if they don't go a second ago, it's bad news, right? So I find it difficult to engage in a task of no interest to me, even if it is important. I'm going to say agree. Important tasks I know are important, but if they're not of interest to me, or it's actually a bit like that task suggestion earlier in the video, then yeah, it makes it hard. I sometimes focus on an incident for a substantial time. They've put days in brackets after the event. I would change days in brackets and I would write years. Yes, strongly agree. I always focus on incidents for literally years after the event. And I may be still stewing about I said something the wrong way, or I got taken the wrong way, or this happened or that happened. In fact, it never goes away, and it just adds to the kind of trauma and stress and anxiety. I need a quiet and predictable environment for me to switch from one task to another easily. I'm going to say agree on that one. The less sensory overwhelm or stimulus or whatever in the environment, the easier it is to manage task switching. I often engage in activities I am passionate about to escape from anxiety. Strongly agree. Anxiety, dysregulation, whatever it is, alone time and your special interests, your passions, that is absolutely one of the key ways autistic people can regulate themselves again, bring themselves back to a more peaceful vibe. So yes, strongly agree. After a period of instability, I need a quiet and predictable environment. Yep. Definitely. It's like your safe place, right? If you've been out in the world all day, you come back to your safe place, you really need it to be your safe place, right? Predictable, safe, quiet, not dysregulating you further. Agree. I often find engaging in stimming to be relaxing. Yep. Other autistic people that don't. Now, of course, this is for non-autistic people as well, so that's really interesting. But yeah, obviously for me, like whether it's the fidgeting or whatever, 100% agree. I sometimes become highly anxious by focusing on the many possible situations that might occur at a future event. What else should I say, guys, apart from strongly agree? It's distressing to be unexpectedly pulled away from something I'm engaged in. Oh man. Yeah. Change your plans, change your routine. If I'm engaged in something and something's come up and it's like, it's last minute stuff, change is bad. Strongly agree. I tend to do activities because I find them interesting instead of due to societal expectations. Well, absolutely, strongly agree. 100%. That's the only reason why I do activities. I don't do activities because other people like them or other people want me to do them. I do activities because I like them and I want to do them. That doesn't even occur to me as something that's strange, but clearly it is. I sometimes avoid talking because I cannot reliably predict how others will react, especially strangers. That's absolutely right. Absolutely agree. Social and communication interaction challenges that autistic people have, we're clearly going into these situations, misreading things or getting misinterpreted and these types of things. So obviously it's unpredictable. We just always fear the worst, we're not going to do very well. And that's right, if we can't predict that these people get us, absolutely, agree. I rarely find social situations chaotic. What? I find them traumatic. Strongly disagree. I find it easy to keep up with group discussions when everyone is speaking. Strongly disagree. I often engage in, by the way, that is actually autistic groups as well. maybe more. I often engage in lengthy discussions on topics I find interesting, even though my conversational partner does not. Well, you mean like my wife? Strongly agree. I'm still fascinated by many of the things I was interested in when I was much younger. I'm going to say agree on that one. Yeah, I think that's right. And in fact, broadcasting and performing, that's been my thing since I was like 3. So, but yeah, other things too. Is that not normal? When I'm interested in something, I tend to be passionate about it. Strongly agree. Autistic people have special interests, passions. You could call them intense or obsessive, but that's right. If we're interested in something, it's because we're passionate about it. I often experience anxiety over matters I have little certainty over. Absolutely. Strongly agree. When there is a lot of information to consider, I often struggle to make a decision. Yep, strongly agree. I rarely find myself getting stuck in loops of thought. I tend to feel quite self-conscious unless I'm deeply absorbed in a task. I'm going to put agree on that one. I manage uncertainty by creating routines. Agree. I think that's very common for autistic people, the use of sameness and routines and structure to manage uncertainty, 100%. I'm usually passionate about a few topics at any one time in my life. Yeah, I'd say agree. Most autistic people only have a select few passions or interests at a time. They may change, but usually just a few. I have trouble filtering out sounds when I am not doing something I'm focused on. I agree with that. It is very hard. When you're focused on something you're passionate about, you kind of block out the world. When you're just default mode or living mode, it is much harder. I agree. I often loop back to previous thoughts. Yeah, that's a strongly agree. That's a constant, in fact. There's a constant loop going on. I often notice details that others do not. Oh man, this is a massive strongly agree, right? And this, as an autistic guy, I'm constantly told, you're such a stickler. You're always picking up faults and Yes, I am the guy who notices the details that others don't. My wife sometimes thinks I'm criticizing her, right, or being mean, and it's absolutely not my intention. I can't help it, my brain can't help it seeing, that's wrong, that's right. That's not how you say it. That doesn't mean that. So yeah, strongly agree. I usually mean what I say and no more than that. Well, I think I'm going to strongly agree with that. I'm often totally focused on activities I am passionate about to the point I am unaware of other events. Yeah, that's a strongly agree. Honestly, I'm in a different world. I find social interactions more comfortable if communicating about a topic of interest to me. I'm going to say strongly agree on that one. I think really one of the only times they're comfortable is when there's that common ground. So absolutely, 100%. I find a problem I can't solve distressing and or hard to put down. I find a problem I can't solve, distressing and or hard to put down. There couldn't be anything more real than that to me. Strongly agree. If there's something goes wrong or it's got to be fixed, I can't move on with my life until it's resolved. Wow. How did you go? If you were just watching along and passively enjoying the experience of this test and you want to try it out for yourself, there's a link in the comments below. Also, do you have a topic suggestion for an upcoming video? I'd love to hear it from you. Please just whack them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Until my next video, thanks for your support and we'll talk soon.